Welcome to Chemnitz, European Capital of Culture 2025. I have spent the weekend in the city, so I'm going to take you around some of the things that I've looked at. Got quite excited about some of them. So there's exhibitions all over the city. We've made a massive effort to include the local communities, including a lot of people that have moved to the area in recent years. Chemnitz, if you look at a map of Europe, it's actually kind of right in the middle. I always imagine we're more south when I'm over here in the east, but it's really central. To have such a hub of culture here is one thing, and also the whole state of Saxony has done a big outdoor sculpture trail which is really well signposted as well. Most things are opening kind of March, April. Check all the links that I'm going to put in the description below before you travel if you're looking for something specific. So I think you should come with me and have a look at what's going on. This is one of the public artworks currently installed in Chemnitz. Is by Osmar Austin, who's from the city of Chemnitz. This purple path, which is a trail of public artworks throughout the whole state of Saxony, and I just think it's really interesting because you have this contrast of these beautiful traditional marble-esque columns which we're familiar with in, you know, the lexicon of sculpture, but above them you have these really rough aluminium cast figures of the sort of things you see in local folklore here. So one of the things about Chemnitz that made it a massive force in the Industrial Revolution was how close it is to the Ore Mountains, which are on the east of the city. And during the winter it gets super dark and cold in the mountains. The carved wooden Christmas tree decorations that we have, they traditionally come from this part of Germany, and here you have them really rough cast. So in contradiction to our assumptions of how beautiful they're made for the Christmas decoration market, here they're just raw in their own form, but still in familiar, recognisable figures. So I love the contrast between really raw, familiar figures atop this glorious, very austere column arrangement. Chemnitz was known for a period as Karl-Marx-Stadt, and they have this, amongst the amazing DDR architecture here, they've got the hugest bronze of the man's face. Look at it! So in the St. Jacobi church behind me, I've just seen the exhibition by Young Jae Lee, the Bowls exhibition. I just want to say a couple of things about it because I'm so moved by it. That was just gorgeous art. Bowls, all of them handmade, hand thrown. You could see that there was variations in the light and the texture and the finish on them, and also a few visible, you could say, flaws, but that whole thing of appreciating the fact they were so handmade and handcrafted. Variations in glazes, in tones, in techniques, and the scale of them. And in this church behind me, so you get this sort of automatically, you're allowed to quietly consider and contemplate the work. So a bowl is, it's a familiar thing. Schäler means a dish or a bowl. Some of them are deeper than others, so they could be giant plates. So you have this association of things you can eat out of, gather round, collect things in, give things out in. They're so big there could be loads of you, where you could just actually have your bosh of an evening, and so it feels really generous having these 7x7, so these 49 huge dishes in this really austere sort of church that it's taken years to rebuild it. So this was a top tip. So behind me you see the Frauenzentrum, the Women's Centre, or the Pink Palace, and they are doing an exhibition which actually opens later in the year, not open today sadly. It's a collaboration with some Portuguese women artists. They're making a big ceramic self-portrait sculpture which is going to be exhibited here later in the year. Cannot wait to see that. I'm going to come back for that. Garages. Notice how I've colour coordinated my coat and my whole outfit with these garages. When the cities were rebuilt and developed during the DDR times, Loads of people lived in apartments, which is all very lovely and warm and cosy, but people also had cars eventually, or at least motorbikes or mopeds, and they needed garages to keep them in, and these garages are as numerous as the flats almost, and they've got the whole cultural life of their own now, which is a massive focus point of the European Capital of Culture exhibition that Chemnitz is putting on. So they've got some amazing photographs and portraits of some of the garage owners. Okay, on to the Industrial Museum of Chemnitz. Look at the size of that brick building. So I'm in the John Cage exhibition at the Industrial Museum, which is a really fascinating concept. John Cage wrote a script for an exhibition which suggests that random objects are gathered from all the other museums in the city. So they've done this from the museums across the region, and they're exhibited in no particular order. I just have to show you this. Was any art school education complete without an OHP? Yeah, just me walking along underneath the remote heating pipes. Another walk underneath some remote heating pipes. Yeah, some more remote heating pipes. Daniel Buren. So yeah, Daniel Buren has transformed this out-of-date chimney into an artwork which is now for the whole city to enjoy. You can see it pretty much everywhere you are. And it's on the site of, it's still a remote heating plant, but this chimney is no longer in use. But these heating pipes, fantastic. As part of the open air sculpture trail in the county of Saxony, here I stand before a sculpture by the ceramicist Uli Eigner, a large porcelain vessel, as you can see, wrapped up for the winter. I'm so keen. It's not even open yet. It's installed, but it's covered up. So this, to scale, this is how big it is. So it's going to be a really big pot. Well, it is already a big pot. It's inside somewhere. I'm just a bit too early. So when you come later in the year, it's going to be a stunning pair of porcelain vessels. There's another one behind me there, also wrapped up. Porcelain, or kaolin, which is the sort of white part of porcelain, is another one of the elements found in the Ore Mountains, which is what we're in now. The Ore Mountains in the east of Germany. And the discovery of the kaolin in these mountains was yet another asset to the region, and really kick-started the Meissen porcelain era, which was part of the transformation of the industrial landscape of Europe. I can't wait to see these pots. I am so coming back when it's warm. You can go and visit old towns and see the beautiful old architecture, and I can't help contrasting it with the new builds, and I feel like sometimes it's easy for me to feel a bit melancholy or nostalgic for something I didn't even know. There's a time when practicality won out over aesthetics, and I understand all the reasons why that is, but that's partly why I love finding art in public places. It got us here. We wouldn't have found this village, this town otherwise, and it's a positive choice that the people here have made to make a space for this work, to install this work and to care for it. It's brought us here, but it's also shown me this sort of aesthetic decision that they've made. It feels like it's alive. It makes things feel alive to me. And that's why I really love coming to see art in random towns that I would never have expected. It's just sort of proof of life, proof of faith in aesthetics, proof of this engagement that we have with where we are right now. And these artworks will outlive most of us, and they'll still be here for people beyond us to see, and I think that's worth celebrating. But that is your update on my tour of Chemnitz, Saxony and the Ore Mountains.